Friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw News Brief. Your new Quizlemania Tag Team Champions are going to try to keep this one brief. Larson, what's in the news?
There's actually a lot in the news, so good luck to us to try and keep this brief. First item here. Seems like Raw might want Finn Balor. So now that Finn Balor has failed in his bid to reclaim the NXT title from Karrion Kross, talk naturally turns to what's next for the Prince. Will he stick around NXT? Return the main roster? We don't know. WrestleVotes, though, may have some hints as to what the future holds for Finn Balor. That's what WrestleVotes say. Quote, regarding Finn Balor, I'm told members of the Raw creative team have asked for him for months now. No edict has come down from the top yet, yanking him from Orlando. The NXT crew adores Balor, so unless the main roster has major plans for him, I think he's okay where he is.
Interesting.
I guess to a certain extent, it's somewhat deflating to hear that it's Raw that wants him, simply because Raw's creative is an absolute mess versus SmackDown, which is pretty good. A feud between Finn and Roman would be great. However, if they have major plans for Finn, in my mind, would mean WWE title program. It seems the odds of him winning such a feud are better on Raw than on SmackDown.
Yeah, so. That's definitely true. When I hear that Raw really wants him, the scariest thing is, we want to do Fiend versus Demon, which is such a step backwards for him. It's such a step backwards. Interesting that, this seems, WrestleVote said they've got a good reputation. Seems that there are no firm plans, it's it's just going to be the thing where a couple weeks he won't be on NXT and, they'll do a vignette, what's next for Finn? What am I going to do next? Everybody wants to know what's next for Finn. And it's just going to be
and then they'll figure it out eventually. And then either he stays in NXT or he goes up to main roster.
If you want to bide your time, I don't know how close UK is to getting fans. But have him do a thing with Walter, Maybe do a thing with Walter. Because that was what the tease was back in the day anyways, before pandemic.
That was supposed to be the takeover
yeah.
show, yeah. That got canceled.
And then you can revisit it. But, man, if Raw Creative really wants him, number one, Raw Creative is terrible. And I honestly don't believe it's because of the talent they already have,
Talent's good. Really good.
The talent's good. It's fitting those pieces in the correct places. And they just don't do that well. So, I would not be huge on that. SmackDown, I'd be all about that because they treat their characters really well there.
They do. One thing I'll say as far as Finn going to Raw, that would fill a void there because Raw is light on main event baby faces. You got Drew, and then depending on how you book them, Braun. And Kofi now they're putting up in the main event. I don't know how long that's gonna be a thing.
I hope he stays there for a spell. I really do.
Yeah, me too. Because Kofi, when they actually elevate him out of the tag division up into the main event scene, he always does a great job. So
yeah, for sure.
But if he's gonna be in the mix for the WWE title, I hope he's there for a while.
Yeah. It could be they're thinking that, hey, things are so... Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking. It is kind of disappointing that there doesn't seem like to be... Now that he had this cross match, which seemed to just... why wouldn't they have just waited another couple weeks until TakeOver to do this cross match? I don't know. That's sort of bizarre to me, but I guess we'll find out more over the next month or so to see.
Yeah, it is interesting why they did this on TV as opposed to... the primary, reason you would think is, Finn's moving up,
What is today? Today's Thursday. What were the NXT ratings? I never saw those.
I haven't seen them either.
Oh, okay. Anyways, so this SummerSlam situation, Larson, is supposed to be happening in 2 months now? It's kind of a mess.
About 3 months.
About 3 months. It's kind of a mess. Wait, August? What is August? August is 8. Yeah, okay.
It's
you're right.
Month.
Yeah.
The eighth month.
It's July is the 7th month. Yes. So Andrew Zarian has some more information about this SummerSlam business. He's reporting a SummerSlam is gonna happen, will happen at Las Vegas's Allegiant Field. But when is the big question. WrestleVote suggests that the biggest party of the summer could actually happen on a Saturday.
Never happened before.
They say this: The rumors of a SummerSlam from Las Vegas taking place outside of a Sunday are correct, according to a source. Hearing that internally the show is listed for Saturday night, August 21st. They credit Andrew Zarian for the initial date tweet. WrestleVotes also notes that, yes, guys, I am aware there's a Manny Pacquiao fight in Las Vegas the same night. I can only report on what I'm told. Saturday night is happening, though. Shortly thereafter.
Yeah, go ahead. Yes. WrestleVotes had an update. Cue the Unsolved Mysteries update graphic. Quote,
within minutes.
August 21st is currently provisional, according to a source. Pacquiao fight wasn't official until May 21st. No update since on document being circulated. August 22nd and Saturday, August 7th, shown as holds. WWE's preference is Saturday. However, being honest, I'm not entirely sure where it stands as of now. So, just saw this before we started. Sports Business Journal is reporting that six venues are still under consideration for SummerSlam. They are as follows: Hard Rock Stadium in Miami, Florida; SoFi Stadium in Inglewood. Of course, that's the home of WrestleMania 39. NRG Stadium in Houston. Energy, get it?
NRG Energy.
Yeah. Allegiant Stadium in Vegas, of course. MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey, home of the New York Football Giants and the Jets. And Nissan Stadium in Nashville, Tennessee. I believe that's where the Titans play.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems like they're intent on having a huge stadium show.
Yes, that's great.
If Andrew Zarian and WrestleVotes be believed, they want to do it on a Saturday.
Why do you think that is? That's interesting.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know. And I don't know. Like, in one sense, I understand why they wouldn't want to have the show in Vegas the same weekend as the Pacquiao fight, because a lot of people are coming in.
Yeah.
It might make it harder for people coming in for SummerSlam to get hotels or Airbnbs or whatever. But at the same time, if a lot of people are coming in for that fight, if they think there's crossover between people who want to go to the Pacquiao fight, will go to SummerSlam, it would make sense to actually have it the next day, not the same day. But I don't know.
I don't know why they'd ever want to have it on the same day as that in the same place. That doesn't make any sense.
In the same city, I know doesn't make any sense.
In the same city, yeah. I don't know. That's strange. It sounds like a mess. So I guess we'll figure out when we figure it out.
Yeah, once WWE actually officially announces something, then we'll actually know when it's happening, where it's happening, what time,
exactly,
all that kind of stuff.
At some point between now and like September, there's going to be a SummerSlam, and we'll be watching it.
Whether it's end of August, early August, mid-August,
Saturday,
maybe late
Sunday,
July,
Tuesday,
Labor Day weekend, we don't know. It's going to happen at some point.
Exactly. Something we know is going to happen this Sunday. Double or Nothing AW is, as always, preceded by Cody Rhodes' media call. He usually does these things, right? This is like a
listen to the last one for was it Revolution? I think it was.
One day we'll submit a question. We just want to make sure it's the perfect question. We should have really asked him
the perfect question.
Cody, what's your reaction to Steven Larson winning Quizlemania Tag Championships?
Yeah,
the Church of Friendos. Yay or nay, Church of Friendos, Cody. Yeah. So anyways, so there was obviously one of those today, and we've got the rundown here. First up, Louis Dangour, who, by the way, slipped into my DMs to congratulate me on my impressions. He loved my impressions, my impersonations on Quizlemania. Right. Didn't say anything about us winning the tag championships.
All right, very well. So
he asked. He was asking about Rampage, the upcoming, not the guy from UK, the upcoming AEW show. Cody said he's excited about it. They're looking to expand the roster further.
Tony Khan, that's a little note I put here. Tony Khan mentioned the same thing on the most recent AEW Unrestricted podcast.
Yeah. August 13th, Rampage will complement Dynamite to further storylines and reestablish TBS as the undisputed top network for wrestling. Notes that Dynamite and Rampage will share the same roster. They'll lean into TV specials / mega events, kind of like they're doing now.
One thing Cody noticed, I don't remember that was in the initial announcement Cody mentioned, was that Rampage is going to start on TNT, and it sounded like, based on the way he was talking, that both Dynamite and Rampage will move to TBS in 2022.
Oh, that's interesting. He also, he brought up Dark and Elevation. He says, they all have their own identities, their own, sort of whatever. And they all enhance the same thing. It was kind of a Triple H answer. He's just basically saying that, Rampage will just be more of the same in the same universe, et cetera, et cetera. Sean Ross Sapp asked Cody about the Cody / Young Bucks Kenny beef that had been long rumored now for at least a month or so. He chalks up those rumors to the aftermath of the Wednesday Night Wars. Says he talks to the Jacksons daily. He talks to Kenny a lot. He says there's no truth to any beef. They are one team. They'll remain one team, and they're all very supportive of each other.
Yeah. So someone else asked him about a recent interview we did where he talked about workshopping and focus grouping his promo he had a couple weeks back. What exactly that entailed. Was there dedicated focus groups for AEW? And then he kind of said, he says, I misspoke. Yeah. I didn't mean focus grouping as in what traditionally focus grouping means. Mm-hmm. He says he didn't do that. He worked on it very hard. He practices in the car like Steve does with his impressions.
Oh, yeah.
But he says with his promos, he'll record voice memos and then send them to people he trusts, talents, legends, coaches, get feedback that way. But there's no AEW focus groups. There's not a group of people sitting in a room watching Cody practice his promo on TV.
One-way mirror window thing. Yeah.
Have you ever done one of those before?
Oh, have I? I don't think I have.
I've done a couple of them.
A couple of them. Interesting.
It was mostly for products though, not for.
Do you remember what products?
Not for wrestling promos.
Do you remember what product it was?
Oh no, it was years ago. It was probably
this is interesting.
Years ago.
You see this All Out? It's going to take place in Chicago.
No, they just announced that.
It has been confirmed as of a couple hours ago.
Wow.
Let's see here. Tony Khan announced on the Unrestricted podcast.
Oh, all right.
All Out will play host to a women's casino battle royal.
I saw that.
It's likely going to take place in late August or early September. Where's the bit about Chicago? I'll keep on looking for that if you want to keep up with this.
Sure, because traditionally it's been at the Sears Center in suburban Chicago. Yes. So next, we found out yesterday who Adnan Virk's replacement on Raw is, and it is former, I believe, Bellator and UFC announcer Jimmy Smith. Smith had done some work on NXT pre-shows prior to his hire. As to another former Raw commentator, Tom Phillips, Fightful is reporting that Phillips has been released by WWE after nearly 10 years with the company. That's pretty surprising. Tom Phillips is probably the best play-by-play announcer WWE has under their employ.
Yeah.
He's really good. It's really weird that they constantly move him around when he's pretty darn good at his job.
Yeah.
And now I know he has other responsibilities or had other responsibilities in the office. I think he was number 2 to Michael Cole in that particular department. But yet it's interesting that, maybe he just doesn't want to do announcing. I don't know.
So let's see here. John Alba with Living the Gimmick had a report on this. And so according to John Alba, it says his sources indicate Vince McMahon was never completely sold on him as lead voice for programming. That's why he was moved around a lot. He had recently been relegated to 205, and as a special projects producer, though in the past month and a half, he changed his social media handles, removing reference of WWE in his stage name. Yeah, this is interesting. I mean, if it's true that I do get the feeling we saw this with Adnan, and we see it with Jimmy Smith. I wasn't too familiar with Jimmy Smith. From what I read up on him, he seems to be a huge fan of wrestling, which I think is number one what you need. And we've seen that with Pat McAfee. Yep. You got to know the stuff. You got to be really into it to be able to call it properly. Jimmy Smith has a very sports fight feel voice, and I think that's what they wanted with Adnan, who came obviously from baseball. Yeah. And I think that's what they're going for. And Tom doesn't really have that. I mean, I think Tom could probably excel at that, but I get that he wants a bit more personality in the voice. That's just what I'm getting from this stuff. And Tom really doesn't have that. I think the world of Tom Phillips, but if you listen to Jimmy Smith, if you just listen to the guy talk, it's like, man, this guy has like an urgent fight feel to his voice. And with Tom, I never really got that. So maybe that's it. I'm just speculating. Maybe that's it.
That could be. Maybe it's pretty interesting the difference then in how they're approaching. Because here's the thing: is back when we heard that SmackDown was going to Fox, the idea was that was be the sports centric show.
Yeah, they were talking about guys like Cormier coming in to do commentary for that. Yeah,
and yet they have Michael Cole, who's been with the company forever.
Mm-hmm, yeah,
he doesn't necessarily call matches with a sports type feel. Corey Graves, when he was doing analysis, definitely not.
Sure.
Pat McAfee to a degree, yes, but not in the same way that you'd see him. Like if he was doing UFC stuff, it wouldn't work at all.
Not in the traditional sense that you're talking about.
No, I think what Pat's how he's doing it is through his absolute passion for pro wrestling, and that comes across.
Yeah, sure.
And he brings a sense of excitement because he's excited. You could tell this genuine excitement on his part.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that if they want to take the more sports approach with Raw, which is far and away seemingly the more sports entertainment focused of the two shows.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And I think that, obviously whatever philosophy they had, starting with SmackDown on Fox, they've ditched, because you're absolutely right. But yeah, I like this. When I heard some samples of Jimmy Smith's voice, I was like, oh man, I totally feel this. And if he's into the product and he knows the moves and he can translate the stories in a way that doesn't interfere with the action in the ring.
That's what I thought Tom Phillips was really good at. He knew how to advance stories.
I agree. I absolutely agree. It's just when I hear Jimmy Smith, I'm like, okay, I think I know what Vince is trying to go for with this stuff. And I understand why Tom might not be that. But, because it seems like, I don't know, between like Vic Joseph, he had like a bunch of guys who sort of fit that same thing, which was kind of just be there to facilitate the play-by-play and don't bring any urgency to it.
Well, that's kind of the Michael Cole mold.
It is. It totally is. Yeah.
But I think now with Vic and Wade Barrett and Beth Phoenix on NXT, I think their chemistry is great.
Oh yeah, same.
And Vic, I feel like is to a point now calling NXT enough where he's getting that point where he brings that sense of drama to his play-by-play now on NXT.
Yeah,
that might not have been there on Raw. Maybe that's because he doesn't have somebody in his ear all the time telling him what to say.
That's not going to be easy, yeah.
Because I feel like when matches hit, like the moment we talked about a couple weeks back when they're about to go to commercials, like no.
Yeah,
maybe that was something he was fed. Maybe that was something they talked about. But his delivery of it brought a sense of urgency to the situation, as in, oh, something important's about to happen or could potentially happen here. Don't go away from this.
Yeah, no, I like that moment a lot too, and I feel like that's the approach they want to take on NXT. Obviously, with Raw, they're just sort of. I think Vince is going for something, and Adnan didn't bring what he thought he was going to bring to it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I mean, it's not going to fix creative on Raw, but Adnan was not the way to go.
It just wasn't working.
No.
It wasn't working.
No,
it wasn't working. We got an update here on Will Ospreay. So he took to Twitter to provide an update on his neck injury, saying, quote, had my physio pop over the house today, and after further digging, I'm now being referred for another MRI on my lower back, as well for fears I may have the same issue in my neck. Things aren't looking good, but I'm determined to come back this year. Thanks for all the support.
Boy, oh boy.
He posted an x-ray of his neck, I believe.
Really?
I don't know what's wrong with it. It's just an x-ray. I'm not a doctor. I'm not an orthopedic surgeon.
Right.
But if it's bad enough that he's got to take his leave, depending if he needs surgery, he must come back this year. That's gonna be tough.
Okay, I don't know. So like this, I'm looking at this X-ray, and what I'm no doctor, but like looking at it, there is that section in the middle that looks pinched to hell. That's probably what because there's the sack of stuff on the outside that's lining it, and that's like disappearing there in the middle area.
That's probably blown discs then.
That looks terrible.
Yeah.
Gee whiz.
That's probably blown discs.
I mean, maybe, look, like you said, maybe that's normal and it's something completely different in this picture. But
I don't know. I always refer back to Mick Foley's first book where he's talking about where he went to the doctor and he was getting his back looked at. And he looked at the x-ray and I think all like the spaces between his vertebrae were all, I can't remember if they were white or gray.
Yeah, right.
But all of them were one color
The
except
wrong
for one.
color.
And he says, "Oh, doctor, that's one that's bad." He goes, "No, that's how they're supposed to look."
Yeah, exactly. Patrick Oliva asks here in our live chat, Steve, how long did it take for Lacey to come back from back surgery before she was hitting stunners? It was a while, it was a while, but obviously those are two completely different things. But yeah, she had back surgery, and yeah, it was a while before she was. That was in June, and yeah, it took a good couple months for her to sort of. I mean, it took a while. It took a while, but I think.
Like if Ospreay has to get fusion, like neck fusion or back fusion, that's going to take a while.
Yeah.
That's going to take a while.
That's got to suck to wake up in the morning, though.
Yep.
Good Lord, that poor guy.
We had an NXT UK today. We watched that. I had a watch along, live reaction.
Fun stuff.
As normal. Here are results. Opening bout was Nathan Frazier versus Shaw Samuels. Noam Dar tried to get involved. He did a couple points. Eventually, though, ref caught him. He got ejected from ringside. This allows Frazier to close the line Shaw out of the ring. He follows with a huge kind of like flipping tope type thing. It was great.
Yeah.
Anyways, Frazier picked up the win. Frog splash.
Good job.
And it seems like Noam Dar has already moved on. We'll hear about that more later.
Yeah. After that, we had a brief Joseph Connors Ginny promo where he calls out the subculture. They're just called subculture now.
Yeah.
Calls them out, so they're going to have a thing. We had a Noam Dar promo backstage. Angry, he got tossed from the match. He's like, hey, I thought it was a 3 strikes thing. I got tossed on 2. He's like, what are the rules around here? He says, but I need someone to pay for this. Calls out Ilya. Bad move, Noam Dar, because Ilya's going to destroy you.
Yep.
Then we had Ashton Smith versus Tio Man. This is actually a really competitive match, really fun match. Ashton Smith had some really great moves.
Yeah.
But in the end, he tapped out to that crossface of Tio Man's. After the match, Tio Man puts him back in a crossface, beats him up a little bit. Oliver Carter makes a save, so they're probably going to have a thing, and Tio Man's probably going to tap out Oliver Carter too.
Seems that way. Ilya had a brief interview talking about Noam Dar, giving him the truth. He says that he's changed, but one thing that hasn't changed, if someone tries to mess with him, he brings the violence.
Oh, man. He's so great. After
he's
that,
going to destroy Noam Dar.
We had poor Jack Stars just trying to hang out in the break room there. He has an interview, but it's interrupted pretty quickly by Pretty Deadly. They tease him. He yells at them, calls them a joke. They mock him some more. He wants a match. They say to earn a title shot, they're going to talk to Johnny Saint, but first he has to find a friend.
After that, we had Andy Wild. I remember seeing him before.
Haven't seen him before, but
I've only been watching NXT UK consistently, however long we've been streaming our reactions to it, so about 5 weeks.
I've been watching a couple weeks before that, and
don't remember him.
Don't remember him, yeah.
Facing Kenny Williams, he shaved his beard off. They made him think about it. It's like he did it. He's doing a shaving commercial, a razor blade or shaving cream commercial.
Yeah.
He ditched the pants. He's got trunks now. All the little Back to the Future references gone.
Yeah.
He wins. New look. Kenny Williams wins a relatively competitive match against Andy Wild with his finisher, which is what Dean Ambrose used to do for the Dirty Deeds, where he had to head this way and fell forward.
Spiked himself. It was great. It was awesome.
It was a good sell.
We had a video package for the upcoming Kaylee Ray Mako Satomura match, which I think they said is happening in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
We had a Gallus / Rampage video package as well. I don't know if they announced when that match is going to happen. If Rampage is still
since it was kind of made last week, it's probably next week because everything's 2 weeks.
Everything's 2 weeks. But also, like Joe just said, hey, when you're ready, I'll come find you. And I don't think that's happened yet.
That's a good point.
After that, we had our main event, which was Trent Seven versus Sam Gradwell. And this is a pretty competitive match. These guys beat the crap out of each other.
They did.
Sam's
Gradwell's
chest
was all tore up.
Destroyed after this. Trent wins with his Birmingham hammer, which, of course, is Burning Hammer.
It's a burning hammer, but it's a good pun.
Birmingham hammer. It's pretty funny.
It's a good pun.
So yeah, the solid episode of UK, setting up some good stuff down the line. Tonight, our official Quizzlemania Tag Championship celebration happens alongside Impact Wrestling.
Popping bottles and I open a can there. I only got canned beer in my fridge.
We're going to be doing this over at twitch.tv/Stephen Larson. So join us as well.
5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern.
I'm going to give the Zoom link to our Church of Friendos co-faction members. I know Kayla streams at the same time, but she's welcome to hop over. And then, of course, Alex, she's welcome to hop on by, too. The Enforcer's going to be there as well. A lot of celebrating to do, a lot of Impact to watch, kicking off with Sami Callihan. I don't know what he's going to do. He just says he's going to kick off the show.
That's what it said on ImpactWrestling.com. The first match they had listed there was Rosemary, Tennille Dashwood, Havoc, and Rachel Ellering and Taylor Wilde versus Deanna Prazo, Kimberly, Susan, Kira Hogan, and Tasha Steelz.
So the good guys and the bad guys in the women's division. Violent by Design. They're going to address Impact. They're going to say something.
Maybe they'll have their own celebration because they're the tag champs now.
That's right. They're the tag champs. Yeah.
Yeah. This is exciting. Kojima, New Japan Pro Wrestling legend, fan of bread. Kojima debuts on Impact. He loves bread.
That's great. Making his debut.
He tweets all the time about bread.
Impact rookie Kojima making his way up the card. And then we've got Petey Williams, the Maple Leaf Muscle, and Josh Alexander versus TJP and Falaba. So that should be a lot of fun too. I wonder if the wad of cash is gonna come into play there.
That could be.
I forget who has the wad of cash right now.
What, Swingman doesn't have it anymore?
Does Swingman still have it?
I thought so.
That sounds right.
I thought it was in his gimmick compartment in his fanny pack.
That's probably right. You're probably right. Anyways, that's going to do it for us today at News Brief. Let us know what you guys think in the comments below. Give this video a thumbs up. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Appreciate it. Until next time, talk to you later.
Bye.